It's actually two important dates, at least from my perspective. The first one is, as you know, it is election day today, and everybody, I guess, is stewing over what's going to happen. A lot of people are anyway. So, hey, it's going to be what it is. It is what it is. The second reason it's important to me is it's called Guy Fawkes Day in England, which means, or in Britain actually, not just in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland. A few centuries ago, some people tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament and get rid of Parliament and replace it. Well, it didn't work. Parliament was not blown up. They were caught. The leader was called Guy Fawkes. And ever since then, they have built bonfires and they have burned effigies of him. And that's what will have been going on today. Of course, it's not now because it's the middle of the night. Now it's almost 3 a.m. in the morning. But they'll have been setting off fireworks and generally an excuse to have a party these days. I don't think anybody's really interested in what the original meaning of it was. But there you are. Two main events going on today. And I'm just knowing, and I ask you all to know, that the outcome of this election is for the highest good for this nation and for the world. And that is what I have been treating for. So whoever wins and whoever retains or loses control of whatever house, the House or the Senate, is also for the best. So that's me. That's me. Today's reading, which I read a while ago before I went to my business meeting, and now I'm back, of course, is called Abundance in Governance. Abundance in Governance. First quote is from Charles de Gaulle, who, as I'm sure all of you know, became president of France after the Second World War. And he said, how can you govern a country that's got 246 varieties of cheese? How can you govern a country that's got 246 varieties of cheese? Well, I don't know. Do you? And Ernest Holmes, in A New Design for Living, has got this to say. A law explains how cause leads to effect. Actually, there is no difference between cause and effect. One just precedes the other. Similarly, we say there's no difference between thought and thing, but the way of one becoming the other is defined as law. Excuse me. So what he's saying there is that every effect becomes the cause of another effect. There is first cause, which is God, the divine, whatever, and the Big Bang, and then after that, every effect eventually becomes the cause of another effect. And then he says there's no difference between thought and thing. He's talking about spiritual mind treatment, and he's saying that when we put our belief into action, and we produce a result, which he would call a manifestation in the material universe, that there's no difference between the thought of the thing and then the thing that's actually created. He's just saying one proceeds from the other. So it's cause and effect. The thought and the feeling of the cause, what results is the effect. And now he gets into governance here. I'm not too sure whether we should, but anyway, he's written it, so I'm going to read it. There are two main levels of governance: self-governance and group governance. I don't think any of us would argue with that, right? How we govern ourselves relates to how we establish and hold to basic principles of living. And then he says, ethical, psychological, and spiritual. He goes on to say, we then ensure that our behaviors are consistent with these principles. So we have principles, we adhere to them. These inner principles always govern the way we express life. So in other words, what we do, say, and think and feel is coming from these principles. The underlying metaphysical principle at work is as within, so without. And when he's talking mentally here, as it is mentally, so it's going to be in expression. And if people try not to do that, it's usually pretty obvious by their body language that they're not in sync between what they're doing and what they're saying and what they're really thinking and feeling. Then he talks about group governance, whether it's a small group, it's a nation, as in Charles de Gaulle there. He says group governance is similar. The group decides how they're going to be governed, or that decision is made for them by others. So in other words, you have a democracy, and in theory, you elect people and they govern you, but you've elected them, you've chosen them to be there. So whoever becomes the president tomorrow has been chosen by the people through the electoral college. And if you don't agree with the electoral college, then, and like as has often happened in the past, the loser has won the popular vote but lost the electoral college. But anyway, in a democracy, you elect people. In places like China, yeah, in theory, some people are elected, but in reality, it's a dictatorship, and sometimes it's an oligarchy. What is an oligarchy? It's a group that's governing as opposed to a person. But there is governance. And then he goes on to say, in a democracy, each person gets to vote and is expected to accept the outcome of the election. I don't know if he's being political here or not. Even if their preferred candidates or issues are not selected. This requires an abundance of respect for those with whom we disagree. He says, if this respect is absent, democracy becomes difficult to maintain. And it's kind of hard to think he's not being political here. But it's his choice. He's writing it. Every group or community we belong to will have principles of governance and procedures for following them. When individuals within those groups are good at self-governance, the group's governance is healthier. Governance in a democracy is by the people and reflects the dominant consciousness. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm yawning. Those with an awareness of how this works have a duty to contribute the highest consciousness possible into the community mindset. Now he comes to today. He says, today is election day in the United States, a wonderful time to practice these principles. So I guess he's telling all of us, including those running for office, accept the results, accept the people's choice. He's given us some affirmations. There's a bunch of them. I'm a spiritual citizen. That's true. I believe I am. Some don't, some do. I believe the best of myself. I bring the best of myself to governing my own life. Fair enough. And I bring the best of those expressions to any group or community I belong to. Fair enough. I'm accountable, reliable, and engaged. Fair enough. I think if you split those up into 3 or 4 affirmations, they're all pretty good, actually. At least I think so. Well, it is kind of late. It's almost 9 o'clock here, and I've had a very long day. I've been teaching, been to business meetings, and it's been a long day. So I am just going to say this. Reverend Lisa is back in action. Please still hold for her. She lost one of her kitties yesterday. It had to be euthanized because it was too sick to heal. So please hold for her and Tom. And also, as I said, please hold that the outcome of this election turns out, whatever it is, turns out to be for the highest good of this nation, the people in this nation, and the world in general. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Namaste.